This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the class and the objects, and we have discussed how can we define an Apex class by using standard navigation and by using developer console, and what is the navigation we used to follow in order to define an Apex class we have discussed, and we have discussed how can we create an object of the class. So once a class has been defined with the required members, then how can we access these class members and how to assign the values for the members, how to retrieve the values from the members, we have discussed in the previous session with the help of object. And we have discussed about the syntaxes, and we have discussed how can we access the members, how to assign the values, how to retrieve the values, we have discussed in the previous session. So now let's see a practical use case on this. How can we implement this? So let me take a small use case. Write an Apex program to manage the employee details. Write an Apex program to manage the employee details. Define the required members to store the employee values and assign the values and print the values on the debug log file. I would like to define an Apex class to store employee details. So in order to store the employee details, whatever the variables are required, I would like to define those variables. And I want to create the object of the class. Through the object, I want to assign the values. I would like to retrieve the values also. Then how can we do this complete end-to-end process? We'll see practically now. Done with this? Now. So now tell me generally related to an employee, what kind of data that we can store? Employee ID, okay. Name of the employee, designation, age of the employee, and then current CTC also, and the birth date, and the joining date also. And then we can able to store the salary information. Okay, what is the salary? Contact number of the employee, email ID of the employee, current employer. That means company name in which he is working right now. And then we can able to check whether still the employee is working with the company or not. That means whether he is an active employee or not. To indicate all these details, I want to define few variables inside that. So now let me define an Apex class. Once a class has been defined with the required members, then how to create the object, where to create, let me show you with practical. I'm going to my Salesforce org now. I'm going to my Salesforce org. So go to the developer console. I would like to define a class in order to hold all the employee details. I'm creating a new Apex class with the name employee helper. I'm defining the required variables. Public integer, employee code, employee age. Public string, employee name and the contact number. Email address, and I would like to store his employer name, that means company name, and the location to which city he is associated. Public decimal, now current CTC. Designation also of type string, we can specify. Here I would like to add a designation also. Now, the current CTC. Public date, birth date, and the joining date. Public boolean is active. Is active. So these are the details. So I have defined an Apex class. Inside the Apex class, I have defined the required variables. In order to hold the employee details, whatever the variables are required, all the variables I have defined with respect to data type. Now, so once the variables has been defined, then how can we access these variables, how to assign some values, how to retrieve the values from these variables. Now let's see one by one. Now, so in this case, as of now, we are done with that class definition. Now I want to create the object of the class. Creating the object means what? We are accessing that class. We are invoking that class. We are accessing that members. We can assign some values. We can get the values from those members. So that is comes under execution part. So execution should be always done from execute anonymous window. Developer console is only to write the code. That's it. We can't execute the code from developer console. So that object creation, assigning the values, printing the values, everything we have to do from execute anonymous window. Because that is comes under execution part, execution should be always done from execute anonymous window, not from developer console. Developer console is an editor just to write the business logic classes with the required functionalities and you can save it. But we can't execute the code from developer console. There is no such options at all. To execute that, we have to go to execute anonymous window. Clear? Now. So, in order to execute this class by creating the object, we have to go to the execute anonymous window. I'm going to this execute anonymous window. Create the object of the class. My class name is what? Employee helper. I'm giving the object name as some e-helper equals to new employee helper. Okay. I'm creating the object of the class. So once the object has been getting created, then whenever we are creating this object of this class, what will happen? It will be reserving the memory for this object. Now, who will allocate the memory? New keyword. Once the memory has been getting allocated, this part is called as what? Default constructor. This default constructor will do what? It will assign the default value as a null for each and every member. Then what is the guarantee it is assigning the value null? I want to show you with practical proof. Print the employee details. I would like to use system.debug. employee details are, I would like to specify eHelper. System.debug, employee details are eHelper. That means whatever the object name that we have, specify the object name. Whenever we are indicating the object with this object here, whatever the members are available, all the member values it will pick up automatically. If you want only some specific member value, then we can specify object name dot member name, like as eHelper dot employee code, eHelper dot employee age. Like that, we can access specific values. Those also I will show you one by one. Now, just how create the object here. Whenever we are creating the object, this last part is called as a default constructor, which will assign the default value as null for all the members, including Boolean variables. Also, it will assign the value as null. Then let me show you with the practical proof. Now click on execute. Select the debug only. Now let's see. Employee details are, okay, this is the employee helper. So now for each and every member, birth date value, null, company name, null, contact number, null, current CTC, null, designation, null, email ID, employee age, employee code, employee name, active status, joining date. For all the members, whatever the variables you have defined, for all the variables, it will be assigning the default value as null. That is the functionality of default constructor. Okay, that's what yesterday I have explained that complete process also to you. Upon creating the object of the class. Now, so whenever we are creating the object of the class, it will assign the value as null for each and every member automatically over here. Okay, now. So later we can assign the value for your members depends upon your business needs. Now, then how can we assign the values, okay, for each and every member? Now let's see. Assigning the values. Now tell me how to assign the values for these members. What is the syntax? Object name dot member name. Okay, the variable name. So I'm indicating eHelper dot employee code. I'm assigning the value, okay, 58009024. I'm assigning some employee code. eHelper dot employee name. I'm giving the value as some Praveen Kumar. eHelper dot employee age. I'm giving the value as some 29. eHelper dot designation. Some senior developer. eHelper dot company name. I would like to indicate some Wipro Technologies. eHelper dot current CTC. This is of type numerical, so we are assigning the value like some 17 lakhs. eHelper dot contact number. I'm giving some value. eHelper dot email address. Now I would like to specify Praveen dot k at the rate some gmail.com. eHelper dot joining date. Today is a joining, so that we can specify system dot today. System is a ready-made class. Okay, system is a ready-made class. In this class, we have a method called as a today method, which is used to collect the today's Salesforce server date, not my local system date. because for my local system, I am the administrator. So as an administrator, I can set any value, any date also, the past date, future date, any date I can set. But I would like to collect the today's actual date. So that here, in order to collect the today's Salesforce server date, we are having a ready-made method called as system.today, which will collect the today's Salesforce server date. It will place inside the joining date. eHelper dot birth date. How to prepare the birth date here? Birth date is almost that years back. Okay, almost that years back. Now, how to prepare this date? Hmm. No. Joining date? Where is the
Today,
joining date here?
today minus birth date.
Now, in this case, suppose his birth date is some specific date, like as March 15th, okay, September 1st, or October 19th, or January 2nd, whatever. That may be any year also here. So now almost here, okay, he is having that years of age. Now today is okay 2023. Now almost 19, okay, 1993 will be that. Assume that he is the birth year. Now, in that case, how to prepare? 1993, March 20. Okay, is the date of birth of that person. How to prepare? For that one, we have to use the help of date class. Date dot new instance. Date dot new instance. That's what I told you. Date data type is used to prepare date value. In order to store the date value, we are using this date data type over here. So we can specify date dot new instance. That means I want to prepare the date. Whenever we are preparing a specific date here, we have to specify okay year number, month number, date here. Okay, this is the syntax we have to follow. This is the format we have to follow. So date dot new instance. To prepare the date value, we have to use this date class. Suppose if you are writing the date value like this, like for example some 20 okay March 1993. If I'm writing like this, it will show the error message because here we have specified this value in the single quotes. Single quotes means it's a string value. String value and the date value both are not compatible, both are not same type, both are different, so it won't accept that. That is a problem. In order to prepare a specific date, it may be past date, it may be future date also, we have to use a date dot new instance. Just we have to pass the three values inside that. First one year, second one month, third one date. Okay, these three values we have to pass. This is the order. Now I would like to specify 1993, month 03, date some 20. We have to prepare. Okay, now eHelper dot is active. I'm indicating this value as true. That means to specify whether this employee is currently in active status or not. To indicate that we are using is active field. Okay, understood the concept here? Now, so now we have received the values over here. We have assigned the values over here. Then how can we print the values? Print the employee values. This is for assigning part. Just we have assigned the values for each and every member separately. Why? Because if I'm not assigning any value, then by default, Salesforce is assigning the default value as null. I don't want to hold the employee value as null. I want to assign by my own. So that we have assigned the value for each and every member. Then I would like to print those values also. How to print? You know, system.debug employee code is how to access eHelper dot employee code system dot debug employee name is eHelper dot employee name. System.debug contact number is ehelper dot contact number. System.debug email address is ehelper dot email address. System.debug I would like to specify designation. Current designation. ehelper dot designation. System.debug. Company name is ehelper dot company name. I would like to specify current CTC. Current CTC is ehelper dot current CTC. System.debug. Date of birth is ehelper dot birth date. System.debug. Joining date is ehelper dot joining date. System.debug active status is ehelper dot is active. These are the members which I'm representing over here. So once the values has been getting assigned, so whatever the values we have assigned, so now these values we are going to be representing on my debug log file. So now here in this case, we are going to be creating the object of the class. Once the object has been getting prepared, then we can able to assign the values for the members and we can retrieve the values from the members also over here. Okay, now let me execute this. Click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now we can see. Now we can see each and every variable value separately. Employee code also, employee name, contact number, email ID, designation, company name, salary, birth date, joining date, active status. But whenever we are representing this date values, it is showing zeros also. I don't want to show these as zeros. For that one, just you can use a ready-made method that is called as format method. Birth date dot format. Joining date dot format. So don't show these values, okay, along with the zeros, just you can show that date value. Now click on execute. Select the debug only. Now we can see that. So these are the employee details here. We can see the birth date of the employee also, and then we can see the joining date also and the active status. All these values we can able to represent. So depends upon your need, we can create the class, we can create the object of the class, we can assign the values, we can print the values as well. Okay, understood the concept here? Now, Here I'm giving for your easy identification. This is from developer console. Class code should be always prepared from developer console. Execution from execute anonymous window.
Yes. Yes.
Just tell me.
For the object-oriented programming, for the string data type while assigning the data, we have to put in double quotes, right? But why here it
No,
is a single quote?
single quote. In Apex programming, it's single quote.
Okay. Hmm. Okay.
And Firoz, one more question I have. But any object, I think when you write the class in the separate window, when you are executing in the execute window, but how we are going to, normally in object oriented, we need to inherit that, import that class and all, right? Let's say this is the
No, we no
small
need to import.
program you
We no
wrote.
need to import anything. Yeah, tell me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, here you wrote the small program. That's how you remembered all the properties inside that, right? You would say
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
if it is a big one, how we are going to handle? Because is there any way we can
Now,
see the special key to see all the properties inside the object?
now, in that case here, suppose if it is a normal members, we can't access them. We can't see directly. Suppose if the class is like as a static members are available, we can access them. Static members you can access. Like for example, let me show you.
Okay, thank you.
For example, I'm creating the object of my account class. Count some ACC equals to new account. Let me show you. Now, if I'm defining the members over here, we can able to access them directly. ACC dot inside that account class, whatever the properties are available, that means fields are available, all the field names are populating here. Okay. So like that here, if you're defining any static members directly, we can access them.
Okay, thank you.
Done with the class. Hmm. Or else can I share this code instead of writing this if you want. Okay. Now, or else just to give some space in your okay paper notebook over here, just you can write it later also. Now, let me give you one more example here. Take one more use case. Now, because these procedures are very, very important, like as creating the class, creating the object, assigning the values, retrieving the values. These four steps are the base for next topic here. That's what I'm giving one more example here. Now my requirement is I want to define an Apex class to manage the project details. For example, We have an IT company. So in our IT company, we are working for so many projects for different clients. Now I want to store all the projects information. So in order to manage the project details, I would like to define an Apex class. I want to assign the values. I want to print the values. So I want to define an Apex class in order to hold the project details. Now tell me, generally for each project, we'll be having certain members. What kind of data we can capture related to a project? For each project, we are allocating a project code, and that is called as project ID also. Project name, that means the title of the project here. Client name, that means who is the client for whom we are building this project here. And the contact number of the client. Email ID of the client here. Team size, that means how many members are working for this project. We can specify the team size. Start date of the project. End date of the project. Domain name of the project here. Okay, and the location of the client, whether he's a US client or UK client or domestic client or whatever, we can specify. What is the budget cost? Okay, what is the budget cost? And then we can specify whether this project is still in progress or is it completed or is it not started still. I would like to indicate here. So for that one here, I would like to define the required members inside a class. I want to manage these details. Then how can we do that? Okay, now let me show you with the practical. Okay, now. Define an Apex class to manage the project details. Define the required variables and assign the values and print the details on the debug log file. Then how can we define this class? Now let me show you with the practical use case. Done with this? Now, let's see. So now let me define an Apex class. I'm defining an Apex class with the name projects helper. I want to define the members. Public integer, project code, and the team size. Public string, project title, that means project name, client name, email address, contact number, location, domain name. Is it a banking project or finance project or e-commerce project or what? I would like to indicate the domain name also. Public date, start date and end date. Public decimal, budget cost for the project. Public boolean is in progress. Whether the project is in progress or not, I would like to indicate. Done with this? Now. So now let's see how can we create the object of the class. I'm going to create the object of the class. My class name is projects helper. Some p helper equals to new projects helper. I'm creating the object of the class. Upon creating the object of the class, for each and every member, it will assign the default value as null. So I don't want to hold the value null. Okay, I would like to assign the value related to my project details. So I would like to specify p helper dot project code. I would like to assign the value from 56009039. This is the project code. P helper dot project title. I'm giving the project title as insurance processing service. Now, P helper dot client name. I'm indicating Farmers Insurance. P helper dot contact number. I would like to allocate I'm giving this contact number. P helper dot email address. Now I would like to specify the email address as, now for example, some Jesse, so at the rate some farmers.com. P helper dot location. I'm giving the value United States. P helper dot start date. Start date is today's date. So I'm indicating system dot today. P helper dot end date. So client has given 6 months of time to complete this project here. So from today onwards, 6 months of time I would like to add. For that one, what I will do is I will collect the today's date, and for this today's date, I would like to add 6 months. So that we are using system dot today dot. I would like to use a method called as add months. If you want to add some specific days, then we can use add days method. Okay. If you want to add some years, we can specify add years. These are the built-in methods. Now I would like to add the months. Add months of 6. So that means I'm collecting the today's date. For this today's date, I'm adding 6 months of time here. Okay. Then it will prepare the date also. Now, so the P helper dot, we can specify the budget cost. Some 5 crores. P helper dot team size. Some 7 members. P helper dot is in progress. I'm indicating 2. So I would like to represent whether the project is in progress or not. So I'm indicating these details. Now I want to print the values. System dot debug. Okay, system dot debug. I would like to specify the project code is, we can specify P helper dot project code. System dot debug. Project name is P helper dot project title. System dot debug. Team size is P helper dot team size. System dot debug. Client name is P helper dot client name. System dot debug. Contact number. Contact number is P helper dot contact number. Email address is email address value. I want to print the start date. P helper dot start date dot format. System dot debug. Project milestone date. End date dot format. Budget cost. Is in progress. P helper dot is in progress. These are the details I would like to represent here. So depends upon the requirement, we can create the object of the class and we can assign the values, we can print the values as well. But whenever we are assigning date values, please take care of that here. please make sure that we have to use that corresponding date functions. Okay, don't assign the value directly in our regular format. Salesforce won't accept. Suppose when I try to assign this date value here, today's date, I'm indicating as 06/12/2023. When I try to assign the value like this, it will show the error message. Let's see. It will show the error message, illegal assignment from string to date. That means here it is expecting a date value, but you are trying to be assigning an illegal value. It's a wrong value, that is a string value you are trying to assign. So it won't accept that. So that here, please make sure that we have to assign the values for the date field, okay, in the date format, not in the string format. Okay, now clear up to this one. Next. Now click on execute button. Let's see the results. Select the debug only. Now we can see the project details also. So whatever the project details we have assigned, all the project details we can able to see it over here. All the project details we can able to represent. Yeah. Hmm. How to get means? Hmm. Date value will be as per this particular, okay, the time zone, we have to pass this date value in the form of, okay, dd YY format. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Now, if you want to prepare a specific date, okay, then at that time, date dot new instance. Okay, because here from today onwards, we are adding, okay, 6 months of time over here. For that one, directly I'm using add months of, okay, 6. Now, suppose for example here, if you want to prepare a specific date, then we can specify date dot new instance. Then at that time, we have to specify that value in terms of year and the months and the date. We have to prepare the date value. Anything, anything also. Here we can specify any year number, not only the future, it will be previous, 1990, 1980, okay, 1920, whatever you want, you can specify. If you want to prepare a specific date, then we can go with date dot new instance. To collect the today's date, system dot today. To add some specific days from today onwards. Like for example, after 10 days, I'm having some exams, or after 10 days, I'm having some elections. After 10 days, I'm having a travel plan. In that case, we can specify add days method. System dot today dot add days. If you want to add some months, add months. If you want to add some years, dot add years. Like that, we are having some methods. Okay. To prepare the specific date, we are using this format. That's what I have given 2 examples over here. To prepare the date here, today's date, we are using system.today. To add some months from today onwards, we are using. In the previous example, I showed you how to prepare a specific date. That's what I have taken that variable, but the date variable here. Okay, now, because birth date, we can't issue that here. It's a different value here. From person to person, different dates will be available, different months and different years will be available. At that time, to prepare that particular date value, we are using date dot new instance. That date value will be not only the future, it may be past also. Anything, only one method. Okay, like the similar way. If you want to prepare the time, we have to specify time dot new instance. Time dot new instance to prepare the time value. Here we have to pass hours, comma minutes, comma seconds. Whatever the time value that we have specified, that time will be getting prepared over here. To prepare the time value, we are using time dot new instance. If you want to prepare a date time value, then we can specify date time dot new instance. That's what I told you. Whatever the data types we have discussed as part of primitive array subject, those all are ready-made classes. Okay, those all are ready-made classes here. Date time dot new instance. Here we have to pass both the date and time. That means we have to pass the year value and the month value and the date value and the hours value and the minutes value and the seconds value. 6 values we need to pass over here. Okay, to prepare a specific date and time, we have to use the date time dot new instance. That's what I have taken this date variables also.
Feroz. So,
Yes.
what is the difference between that line number 11 and 12, wherein we have used system.today method and then system.today method and then add months? So, wherein we
Now,
can find it the exact, where which method when to use any
now, for that
any
one,
help
if you
and
want
all.
to know what,
Hmm.
if you need any help related to these classes and the methods, we can refer
Mm-hmm.
that Salesforce help documents. In Salesforce help
Okay.
documents, we'll be having all these functionalities.
Okay. And unlike in Java or any other programming language, for accessing
Mhm.
any methods of any such kind of things, we need to import that packages or
Package,
those classes.
right.
Yeah,
But here we no need
yeah.
to import these packages, nothing. That will be taken care by Salesforce.
Okay. So no
Okay, here
need.
we
You
no
just
need to
have
import
to.
any package.
Hmm,
Yes, right.
hmm,
That is a major benefit. Generally, when you go to that C programming, we have to import
hmm,
header
hmm.
files. C plus,
Yes.
C++ also we have to import header files. In Java, we have to
Yeah.
import the corresponding packages. But in
Packages.
Salesforce, you
Yeah.
no need to do, yeah, you no need to import
Hmm, hmm,
anything. Everything will be taken care by
hmm.
Salesforce automatically.
Yeah, but in Salesforce, we must be aware of this the different type of methods which are available
Right,
and which are
right,
standard methods, right?
right,
So,
right.
okay.
That's what here I'm
So
giving
first,
all these examples to you.
hmm,
Okay, how can we use these
hmm.
methods and how can we use date functions and time functions and all these things, how to use it. We're discussing one by one here. Okay. If you want the complete information of this date related functionalities, just you can refer that the Salesforce help documentation we can see. Okay. Clear up to this one? Now, let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox here. Now we can see. So now it is representing the project code, project name also, and the team size, client name, contact number, email ID, and the project start date. That means today's date. And then project milestone date. End date is okay now 6/6/2024. That means from today onwards, 6 months it is adding over here. Now the budget cost value, and then whether it is in progress or not. So these are the various members that we have defined as part of our class, and then we have assigned the values. We are able to print all these values as well. Okay, clear? Now, whatever the functionalities are required, all the features we are going to be covering as part of the sessions. How to implement, what classes are available, what methods are available, everything we'll see. Suppose in future, if you need any reference whenever you are working on any project, if you need any reference of some additional methods, also some additional classes, just you can go to that Salesforce help documents over here. Now, Salesforce help documents. Now we can able to collect that Salesforce help documentation here. That is a developer documentation. Now here we can able to search for the features whatever we need. Whatever the functionalities are required, we are having this. Salesforce release notes also. If you want to check the release notes, now we can verify Lightning components related, okay, help, Apex related, APIs related help also, and the Lightning components related, Apex reference, developer guide, REST APIs over here, metadata APIs also here. The various options they have given to you. Now, if you want any help related to Apex, just you can click on Apex. Now you will be having this Apex programming, writing the Apex class code and everything. Here all the documentations will be available here. How the Apex class will be executed internally, running the Apex class code, invoking the Apex class code, all the information will be available here. Invoking the Apex class code, anonymous blocks also. Okay, how can we use that? All the functionalities. Now, the complete information they will provide. Related to triggers also, if we need any help, what is a trigger, what is the syntax of the trigger, everything we can able to see it over here. There is a Salesforce help documentations over here. Whenever we need any information, we can able reference, like as the trigger context variables also. What are the various context variables that we have? All these things we can able to see. Okay, now. So now here we can able to search for the functions as well over here. Whatever the information that you want. System class. Go to the system class also here. Now we can see what exactly the system class, what are the functions are available, everything. If you want to see that information of your date class over here, search for the date class. Date class. This is the date class. In this date class, whatever the methods are available, we can see all these methods also here. Add days method, add months method, add years, day, day of year, days between, days in month. These are all are the various methods. How to use, they have given some examples also over here for our reference purpose. For our reference, they have given some examples also over here. Based on the requirement here, we can able to use. If you want the date time class, there is a date time class here. Date time class methods also. We can see all the methods. Date time class methods. All these things we can see along with the examples also over here. Okay, for our reference. If you need any reference in future, we can refer all these things over here. Okay, now.
So Firoz, so for all the standard classes in Salesforce help documents, each and everything is mentioned over there. And for
Right,
customized, I mean, we are going to define the methods, what we need in
right,
that exact
right.
method, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank you so
All the
much.
standard classes and the standard methods given by
Mhm,
Salesforce, everything we can
mhm,
reference from that help documents, and custom methods
mhm.
we can prepare by our own, whatever we want.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Clear up to this one? How to prepare the class, how to define the object of the class, how to assign, how to retrieve the values. Now, let me place this code. Clear? This is the concept of defining the Apex classes and creating the objects, and then we are going to be assigning the values and printing the values. Then how can we use these functionalities as part of our Salesforce Apex programming in order to manage the records? Then how to insert the records inside our object through programming, we'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss about a most important concept that is called as ORM. So first I will explain the ORM functionality. What exactly the ORM, what it will do, what is the use of ORM, and what kind of operations it will do internally, and then how to use this ORM to interact with your Salesforce object through programming. Because generally, when you go to some other programming languages to connect to the database objects, they're using some separate libraries, separate third-party mediators. Those are called as drivers. For example, if it is a Java programming, we need a driver. Through the driver only, we can connect to the database, we can perform the operations. Now, when you go to the .NET also, they need drivers separately here. It may be JDBC drivers, ODBC drivers, JET drivers. The people are using various types of drivers. So instead of using those drivers, instead of using any third-party mediators, how can we connect to the database directly to perform the operations with the help of ORM? We'll see practically in tomorrow's session. Because nowadays, everybody is following that same ORM functionalities over here. When you go to Java also, the people has recently introduced some frameworks, like as a Struts framework, Spring framework, Hibernate framework, they have introduced that is purely built upon ORM. But now, Salesforce has built that Force.com platform purely on ORM in the year 2000 itself. So from there, okay, they're purely concentrating on the ORM feature without using any third-party layers, without using any drivers, how to connect with our Salesforce objects through programming, how to insert the records, how to insert a single record, multiple records, related records, everything we'll see in tomorrow's session here. It's a bit lengthy feature here. It will take 3 sessions completely. We'll see how to implement all the functionalities one by one from tomorrow onwards. Don't miss that part here. That is very, very important. But before going to the ORM, today's topic is a base. Creating the object of the class, assigning the values, retrieving the values. These steps are very, very important here. Because, so preparing the class also we know. But in ORM, we no need to prepare the class. Class will be already given by Salesforce here. What are those classes? I will show you in tomorrow's session as well. So just we need to perform the remaining 3 steps so that today's topic is very, very important. Don't miss the tomorrow's topic ORM. That is okay, very, very important for the whole development process. Okay. Now, so do the practice on the today's topics here. Tomorrow we'll see the concept of ORM. Thank you.